Hey guys, I am ready to talk about the topic that we all want to avoid, compostable plastics. I think you probably have already heard that they are not the best solution, but I tend to have a very positive outlook on these environmental gains. So I'm glad, technically, that a lot of restaurants have switched to compostable plastic, but let's talk about the pros and cons real quick. So yes, I did have to do a little bit of research because I kind of have been putting it off myself. I don't really want to hear the answer that the material that so many restaurants and cafes and I'm just thinking food industry, like so many industries have switched to, hospitality, whatever, it's not the best solution. I want to just hear that we fixed the plastic problem and we're all good now, but that's not the case. So I did my research and here's what I found. I want to start with the cons because I feel like that's probably what you have heard more of, but I love to throw in some pros of this switch as well, so that's coming in a second. So the cons is that compostable plastic cups are just going to sit in a landfill most likely and emit basically just as much carbon emissions as plastic will. They will not compost in a landfill. Now, if we sorted these well and sent them to an industrial composting center, then they would break down and it would be a great solution. But most places aren't doing that. Most people are going to take their coffee, walk away, and put it in a regular trash, and it's going to land in a landfill. Hypothetically, let's say that all of a sudden, okay, what are the solutions? The entire country switched to every trash having a compostable slot next to the landfill slot. Well, actually, you will start seeing these around, but technically, right now, there are only 4,700 industrial composting centers in the country. That may sound like a lot, but compared to how much single-use plastics we use, that is not near enough for all of this. And I would just throw in that another con is this is a great way to greenwash your company, to make your company seem like, oh, we use compostable plastics, we're great. That is just too easy of a solution, and it's giving people the idea that things are all great and solved and they don't have to bring their reusable cutlery or reusable cups or whatever we're talking, whatever industry here. Normally when we land on a solution, it takes lots of articles and environmentalists years to finally get people to start finding the next better solution, and this is what we need to not land on. Alright, but a pro of these compostable plastics is that I've heard plastic cannot be recycled if there is food contamination on the plastic. So when we're getting a plastic fork or spoon or plate from a restaurant, duh, we're not going to clean it off before we throw it away. So none of this plastic is getting recycled. Luckily, compostable plastic, if it has food contamination on it, can still be composted in an industrial composting center, but let's be honest, none of this is making it to those compost centers. Another pro is that these can tend to be less toxic than plastic. Also, how these are made is better than regular plastic, which is nice to know. So let's take a look at some of these coffee cups I got since I've been gathering them on my coffee shop excursions. Trust me, it killed me inside to not bring my reusable cup. No, it didn't. I actually do forget my reusable cup all the time when I go to coffee shops. So maybe I shouldn't have told you guys that. Anyways, this is vegware. This guy, vegware. This one, vegware. And this guy, I do not see a brand name on it, but it says PLA 7, which means it is a compostable plastic. And what are these all made of? If you look it up, these are all made out of usually a corn or potato blend. Basically, corn and potato starch is fermented and somehow is turned into this plastic. That somehow process actually consumes 52% less energy than regular plastic and emits 80% fewer emissions in the process of being made than creating plastic. I was reading this stat and I was like, geez, I did not want to hear how much carbon emissions plastic creates just in being produced, let alone the carbon emissions it emits when it's sitting in the landfill. So depressing. So a round of applause for states like Hawaii and many others that were actually inspired by Hawaii for banning single-use plastics and basically forcing all the restaurants and cafes and whatever industries to switch to these plastics, because, let me say that again, in the process, we are saving 80% carbon emissions creating these and 50% energy. So that is a huge gain, and I'm pretty sure with new inventions, we are going to start seeing better single-use options in the restaurant industry and the hospitality industry. I just wanted to shout out this guy right here. This is a paper iced cup. Got it from Bezia Coffee, my favorite coffee shop where I live, and this is really cool. Let's switch to these two. Before I move on, can we please just discuss some other options there are out there for these industries? I've seen deposits of jars. So for coffee shops, people bring in their jars. You can pay a deposit and then you get money off of your coffee when you walk away. The little jar can have the sticker of the coffee shop logo. There is, yes, these paper cups. I've seen bamboo cutlery. I've seen pasta straws. I've seen straws. We can always take our reusables to these places. I take a collapsible food storage container to restaurants if I have leftovers. There are lots of great options out there, and through my research, I found a very cool new option. This is called A New Cup by Better for All. This is a company that has invented a cup that will compost at home. That means if I put this in my compost right now, it would biodegrade in 6 months. These are made from a blend of bio-based oils called PHBH, and it emulates the durability of regular plastic, but without all the dirty stuff. I've gotten the privilege to chat with some of the staff from Better for All, and it's so cool to hear how passionate they are about this brand new invention. It's so innovative and so cool. They're first tackling sports arenas. They're going to colleges and trying to convince them to switch to these for football games or whatever sports games, because they saw the need in how many beer cups, water cups that one game goes through, and switching to this would make a huge impact. So there's another industry we need these in. You probably have lots of questions. Yes, they're working on new things to create with this, not just this one cup. And yes, it is see-through, which is nice. And yes, it will biodegrade in an airless environment, aka a landfill. So if these do end up in the trash, we're good. This crew is amazing. You can actually trace from beginning to end how this cup was created. It's completely ethical manufacturing, and they really go above and beyond, and I'm really excited to see what they do with this new and innovative invention. For now, I will be buying these for parties and potlucks, and I'll be throwing them in my vermicomposting system. And my worms are vicious, so I'm pretty sure this won't last long in there, and I would love to post updates for you guys. But that means you're gonna have to follow me on other social platforms and on here. So follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. Check out my website and blog where I actually got this information from. It's worldchangerco.com. And lastly, like and subscribe to my new channel. Welcome, guys.